Andy Liu, it is playoff season. We just watched a competitive game. I don't know if it was a good game, but it was a
college basketball game.
No, I thought it was a really fun game. And we got a special guest in with us today. The grandfather, the OG of all Warriors content.
Whoa.
MT, how you doing, man?
Why gotta be a grandfather?
I was just trying to.
Can I be an uncle or something?
I was trying to see how mad I can make you. Not gonna lie.
Gee.
You gotta be the uncle when you're the OG. How can you be the uncle?
I'm just saying. I'm like maybe 30 seconds older than Sam. He's acting like
just like 60 to 75. Come on, man. I wanted to talk about Warriors, all this stuff, but like, okay, that was a fun game. Did you want the Lakers to win that one?
I'm interested in the Dylan Brooks LeBron matchup.
Okay.
I actually didn't care either way, to be honest. I feel like either series against Memphis would have been great. It would have been like entertaining in a way that's probably not like great basketball, but riveting nonetheless. But I mostly was thinking about the Lakers from the perspective of my travel life, which has to do with essentially everything is based on this. So can you imagine Sacramento, then to LA, then to Phoenix?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
What? That's a beautiful trip. If the Warriors do make a run, I'll take that.
What about the frequent flyer miles?
Yeah, man, I've got enough. As you said, I'm a grandfather. I'll be all right.
Who on the East would be the best one? Milwaukee would be better than Boston and Philly. Is there a closer one?
Nah, I mean, Milwaukee's closer, but the great thing about Boston was the direct flights. So at least you get the direct flight. And I don't know.
Ooh, MT just vanished.
Apologies,
just vanished. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, is Memphis on that note? Is Memphis
awful.
the worst? Because there's no direct flights from the Bay.
No, there's no direct flights from anywhere but Atlanta.
Wait, hold on. So you got to fly to Atlanta to go to,
or somewhere,
and then you got to backtrack
Dallas or somewhere. Yeah,
wow. You go out of the way.
There are no direct flights to Memphis from the Bay, and from a lot of places. There's very few places.
Why is that?
Take you directly. I don't know. There's black people there. I don't know. It's racism.
Well, I have to fly to Vietnam in a month, and there's no direct flight, so I got to go to Korea and sit there for 6 hours and then go to Vietnam. So no black people in Vietnam either.
We will cry for you. We will definitely cry for you.
We'll be rooting for the Lakers then. If Adam Silver gets Steph versus LeBron, then Steph versus Durant, or LeBron versus Durant, the NBA wins. He wins. So that's good for everyone.
Already counting up them Kings, man.
We should talk about the Kings at some point tonight. We should talk about the Kings.
By the way, that game was awful. Lakers, Timberwolves. That was bad.
I was ready to come on here and, come with my concern troll take that I don't know, the Lakers could be scary for the Warriors with all their size, but I can't do it, after what I just watched there. After what I just watched.
You can still do it because they'll make all the shots against the Warriors. Isn't it crazy how you watch teams and they look awful, and then when you see them play the Warriors, you're like, yo, man, that team is nice. And then you watch them another time, it's like, yo, they're kind of bad. Why did they make everything?
Malik Beasley's going to make 5 threes.
Malik Beasley and D'Lo could barely be on the court.
Yes.
That's crazy to me.
They couldn't play tonight. It was a Rui Hachimura show, which is okay.
He wasn't particularly good either, but he still was able to play. Yeah, no, you're right. It's and I feel like that sums up the West. No one's particularly that good. It's wide open. It's a completely wide open situation across the board.
I'm starting to buy some Denver stock. I mean, the rest of these teams are looking so bad. At least it feels like Denver is a team, right? They've got components and they play together. They've got Jokic who's elite. They've got the pieces. They look a little bit better. I know we don't want to believe in them, but what I'm seeing, I feel like they have a better path than maybe I originally thought.
I started the season not believing, but because people spent so much time trying to shit on Jokic and gassing him beat up, I went the other way. So now I'm a huge Denver guy. Also, it'd be a great storyline if Denver won. I
No,
don't
it
need
wouldn't. Why? What are you talking about?
because they
Denver's
actually
a
built
great
a team.
storyline.
They built a team. I don't need that Kevin Durant drops in the Phoenix,
I
plays
guarantee
5 games.
you, in the West Finals, you'll be complaining about nobody cares about Denver and Aaron Gordon and nobody. You don't want to see that. I mean, look, it'd be
Jamal
great
Murray
for Denver,
redemption
but
story.
let's not act like this is a national story here. Like, oh, it'd be great. The Denver Nuggets, like, yeah, it won't. Be that.
Andy's getting hipster. He's like, I need to root for what's good for the game, and what's good for the game is teams who actually build organically. That's what's going on here.
It would be nice to see Boston get over the hump if it isn't the Warriors, right? Like that would be a cool story.
I'm come on. Philly winning the title would be a cool story.
No, oh god,
You wild.
It's
You're
James
wild.
Harden. You know I'm never rooting for James
You're
Harden.
wild.
Come on, MT, you know this.
Come on, man. AI be there for the AI and Meek Mill courtside. Come on for Game 7 or the clincher in Philly. What? You ain't a sports fan.
No.
Well, the Kings would be a good storyline. People would be rooting for the Kings. I think
That's it. I just can't believe MT's coming here with Philly. Do you expect a bunch of Warriors fans to like root for the James Harden redemption story? Like I know it's Embiid's team. I know he's the number 2. It's not the James Harden show, but come on.
Listen, first off, the reason to not want Harden to win is because of you being Warriors fans, affinity for Steph.
Sure.
That's over. You telling me if Harden wins the title now, that's done. Like you don't have to hate on Harden anymore. Like he's been vanquished.
Never gets old.
But I understand. But it's like, okay, what happens if he wins a title on the Embiid's team? Can he never win one if he's like 42 hanging on a team? Like you still don't want him? Like,
no, you need to be like Karl Malone, where it's just stats and well, hopefully the allegations aren't as bad.
Same with CP3. I need to see CP3 lose every year, no matter what, until he's 45. No title.
It's like putting in your.
Y'all. That's why people don't like y'all.
It's like putting in, your favorite record. You're like, the greatest hits always hit. So
how about this? Wouldn't it look better for Steph's resume if he put out dudes with rings?
No, it's better if
they never got the ring because
the entire era in which he dominated, they're all ringless, and then some young guys come up. Then it's like, okay, it's there. Tonight was not Ant Edwards' night, but like in theory, it's like the old guys, the young guys finally come through.
I'm sorry. My dad was a big Dr. J guy. I was a big Iverson guy. I'm with Andrew Toney and them, right? Give me some more cheeks. Like, give me what y'all were rooting for the Celtics back in the day. I was rooting for the 76ers. You were going for Kevin McHale. I was rocking with Moses Malone. That's what I'm just saying. I'm going with Philly. Philly sports is a thing.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be mad if Philly won.
So that's your secret. If things don't work out with the job with the Warriors, that's the team you want to see come through.
No, I like this Giannis fella. I love that story.
I do too.
I just wouldn't be mad.
Hedging.
I don't actually care who wins, but I could see the value in somebody else winning. And newsflash, it's not centered on Steph Curry.
Relax. You know it
I
is.
think Steph Curry is set. He's good. Like he's straight. There's nothing else needs to happen with Steph.
Nah, three more. What's the best storyline?
3 more.
What's the best storyline that you can draw out? If you wrote the script, if you hand
Steph
it over to Adam.
5.
Yeah.
Steph gets 5 would be great.
I mean, LeBron getting 5 objectively.
LeBron getting 5 would be LeBron getting 5 would be great because of where they came from, right? Like coming from 13 seed. Like I do feel like but just getting into that upper echelon with Magic and Kobe and on the doorstep of Jordan. Like to me, that's the bigger storyline. I don't. You do all this little small market stuff. I'm not with that. Like, give me the top upper tier. Give me the top shelf. Ain't nobody rooting for. I mean, Denver's cute, but we weren't out here hyped for the Spurs winning titles. Don't act like you was with it because it was good basketball. You was not with that smoke. You was happy Derek Fisher hit that shot in point forward because you wasn't trying to see San Antonio in the finals, and the data backs it up. So I'm not with you on this. Oh, Denver, give me the legends, give me the elite, top shelf. The stuff we're gonna talk about in 50 years. That's what I want to deal with.
Yeah.
Let's roll with them.
Yeah.
So speaking of not with the small markets, how excited are you for the Sacramento Kings now?
Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, this is great. I actually called this on Warriors Plus Minus, and they laughed at me a while ago because at the time we didn't think the Warriors would be 6 and the Kings would be 3. So I said it in jest, but this is great. If you from the Bay, this is incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you this is we don't have to get on the flight. We could just drive up.
And everyone knows Kings fans. Like actual, like, your friend you went to school with, so that always makes it more fun when it's like a legitimate local rivalry. And they've legitimately never been good at the same time in any of our lifetimes. So just adds a unique perspective.
Yeah. I think this is great. I feel like there are so many storylines in this series. I mean, there's so many connections, right? Like, it's riveting. I feel like I think the Kings they could be on the precipice of something. I think we'll find out. We felt this way about Minnesota. Then they went out last year and played one of the dumbest series of all time. We were like,
and then they went and got Rudy Gobert, and
yeah, it's like. But I feel like the Kings, they just have a little magic, and no better way to test it than against the defending champs. But if they come out of this looking pretty good, I'm telling you, if you're Memphis, if you're one of these teams who feel like we're next, you got to be worried if the Kings look pretty good. And maybe that's just my NorCal bias talking, but I feel like they might be on to something.
Wow. I feel bad for the Kings. I'm going the other way. I feel bad for Sacramento that their first series in 2 decades is 1 against the best team of the last 10 years, and 2 in the arena that Warriors fans are going to be in. They're not even going to get 100% capacity Kings fans.
Probably 30% of it.
What's that?
They will get paid though. They get paid. They cashing in them tickets.
I know, but I'm just saying it would have been cool to see Sacramento, the arena, be 99% Kings fans. We're not seeing that. We're probably going to see 75, maybe 70, and then the rest are going to be Warriors fans, and that's just not as. I don't know. I feel kind of bad.
If they were playing the Phoenix Suns or the LA Clippers, it would be like the quintessential, like, we believe vibe. Yes. Where it's just, like 20 years of anger built up to, like, out for this moment. But, like, they can't control the fact that, like, there's just a bunch of Warrior fans in Northern California. They're going to get like 20 to 30%
Warriors fans are going to be chanting "Light the Beam" when the Warriors clinch. And it's going to be disgusting. That's why I feel bad for them.
I don't feel bad because if they win the series, they beat the defending champs. It's over the Warriors. It legitimizes them. If they lose, what did they lose?
Yeah,
true.
What did they lose? True. You lost to Steph Curry. Like, where's the shame in that? I mean, and eventually they're going to lose, right? Like, this is what happens. Your first step, you take your little L, you learn your lessons, and you go. Mm-hmm. What better teacher than to do it against the Warriors? So if you win, you're the big bad dynasty enders, and if you lose, you were supposed to lose. It's fine. Vivek made some money. Your young players got a little experience, and
a lot of money.
Sacramento media got a little shine. You know what I'm saying? People's tweets start blowing up, and then
you saw those.
MT likes
that's how you know the playoffs are around. Like,
Warriors Twitter is just hunting just random guys' accounts that I've never heard of, and then blowing it up with 200 quote tweets. I'm sitting here, I'm like, playoffs are back. I'm like, just let them believe in the Kings. Like, it's not a bad thing to believe that.
Do it.
Nobody's saying anything bad. Yeah, I mean, I'm just like,
let them do it. There are 2 things that can happen. They could be right or they could be wrong. If they're right, then you probably want to shut up about that, right? If they go out there and their offense actually translates into the playoffs, then you're right. But if they're wrong, they have the tweets to deal with, right? Like, just let them live, man. Let them experience it. It's great. This is one of the things that irritates me about social media. This didn't happen in We Believe. It wasn't like this referendum on everybody. And the Bay just enjoyed it. It was just great for the Bay. It wasn't about proving anything. It wasn't commentary. It was just like, this was a great moment for the Bay. This is a great moment for Oakland. Just let it be a great moment for Sac. That's it. Let them however they express that in Oakland, it was expressed in community weed smoking, right? Like everybody was together again. It was fine. If they want to express it by going on Twitter and talk about how great their team are, let them do it. They earned this. This is what you get when you're the 3 seed.
So what you wrote about Rick Celebrini yesterday.
Yeah, with my colleague Anthony Slater.
You and Tony Slater wrote about Big Rick, not to be confused with Big Jim. Just gonna preview the article. Sorry, I love the picture. I was just an A+ job here. It was a really interesting piece, and like it just kind of it's interesting for an organization who you feel like you know. Every Warrior fan feels like at this point they know Steve Kerr, they know Bob Myers, they know Steph Curry. Even if they don't know them, it's just like you've been hearing about. This guy is kind of high up there, and no one knows him to that level, right? And he might be the single biggest determinant of their early success because he's the man who's going to decide when Andrew Wiggins will play.
Yes.
So with that, like, what is your thought on when Wiggins is going to come on the court?
I think he'll be there for the playoffs. I just think it'll be a bench role. The thing that helps Andrew is he wasn't hurt, right? He just it's not like you got to deal with the injury, get healthy, and then get conditioning. He can just go straight to conditioning, and normally that's a couple of practices. At least when it's like Steph, right? It's like, all right, get him a couple of practices.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, but Wiggins is like a ridiculous athlete. Like physically, he is ridiculous. Like he could run all day. His apparently the way he runs is optimal, right?
Wow.
Yeah, he's got this super scientific, perfect way of running. Wiggins is a crazy athlete. So I don't think it'll be that long. I think wind will be an issue, so I think they bring him off the bench.
You really think he'll come off the bench? I think
he'll come off the bench. Yeah, I think they just like that. When you got a minutes restriction, it's easier to keep it if you're not starting. If you're starting, it's harder to keep you down. That's why they agreed. That's why Steph swallowed it and came off the bench. And a little bit of a Jordan Poole teaching moment.
Yes, I was going to say more the latter.
I was going to say,
but it's hard if you do first 6 minutes right of the quarter. First, that's
you're not closing the half.
There.
It's almost impossible to close the half if you're on a minutes limit and you start. Or you do this thing where you play 6 minutes and then you don't play for
a long time. Yeah.
They
tried that and they don't like it. Rick doesn't like it. Steph didn't like it. The first 6 of the first quarter and the last 6 of the second, you're sitting forever. Clay didn't
40,
like it. So
40 minutes of real time. Honestly, if you do that, you go about 40 minutes without playing on the court. It's way too long.
I think he does. We've been wanting to write that story for a while, just because like when Clay was coming back, we were hearing all the stuff about how Clay was so pissed at them. And he was just like, "Yo, man, let me play." And Rick is like, "No." And we already know Steph then had his little wars and lost it. But, it was like people would say stuff like, "Hey, man, when you playing?" "I don't know. Ask Rick," right? Won't you ask Rick? So it's something we've been wanting to write, but it was just wild to see how much. I didn't expect them to be so I love that guy. Draymond will run through a wall for Rick Celebrini.
I think it's a little easier after his methods get validated with the title, right?
Exactly.
They might not feel so cool about him if they bounced out in the second round and they felt like they could have played a little more.
But think about it. In 2019, right, you got to wonder what they thought when KD goes out. And they, it's well, what do we know about this dude? But since then, he's only gotten, they love that dude. And the key part, I think, was Clay not listening and getting hurt again. And then being like,
the ultimate
all right,
lesson.
I'm going to listen. Yeah, all right, I'm going to listen to you. And then he's back. So at that point, he becomes this kind of legendary figure behind the scenes. But yeah, it was interesting. I agree with you. GP2 also, getting GP2 back. Because remember when he came when they made the trade, it was like, yo, 3 months. It was like it might be May, and it was like ended up being like 6 weeks. But that's all like Celebrini. That's him like making it happen. So and Steph's injuries were super weird too. They weren't like the typical thing. So like that dude, like he matters quite a bit as all trainers do, but especially for the Warriors because these dudes are all 30 plus.
Very rarely. Yeah, I was gonna say very rarely do you have this many guys with this much money, with this much on the line, and they're all gonna get hurt. Like Draymond's been hurt all season.
Yeah,
Draymond's got tape everywhere. It feels like then he'll have a back sprain. I'm just like, I know he's playing through it because one, he wants to get a new contract extension. You know what I'm saying? So
and number two, he wants to get a new contract extension.
Number two and number three and number four. Needed a little bit more DPOY buzz, but whatever. It's pretty cool. When you're a fan of everyone else in the Bay Area, everyone on the Niners is hurt every season, just every season, and it's just like it's cool to see a team like the Warriors where guys come back and they don't get re-injured. A lot of these teams they come back and they get Devin Booker came back, then he re-aggravates it and sits out for 2 months. That seems like it never happens with the Warriors ever.
That's because Rick is like a maniac who's like, no. I mean, just think, I don't know this to be sure, but how many times was Joe Lacob like, hey, let's get Wiseman out there. I kind of need my guy out there. And Rick is like, yeah, nah, it's not happening. An entire year. Like, nah, it ain't happening. This ain't good for him.
Meanwhile, like, Steve Kerr's telling Rick, like, yeah, he's hurt. He's hurt.
He needs 4 to 6. 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah. Hey, Rick, let him know. Here's Steve's like, I can't tell Joe, so you tell him.
And they listen to him, but yeah, he just don't mess around. He's like, yeah, no, he's not. If I don't think he's ready, he's not ready. And I mean, think about it. Like, if Steph is arguing with you, and you tell Steph no, like you got to be a bit of a gangster to tell the face of the franchise.
The trust part of it, I think, is also the key part because they're all hyper competitive. If left to their own, they're all going to go out there and, injure themselves trying to prove they can do it. And getting to that space where you're willing to, let the smarter thing happen in spite of like your competitive drive ultimately pays off too.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And that trust is there because you don't really hear about outside, like, people got their own thing. I remember in 2005, the Warriors traded for Barron.
Right.
He was in LA and he played for the Hornets, but he was like, yeah, I'm going to go rehab in LA with my own trainer. Like, you never hear that with the Warriors.
You're seeing it with the Pelicans right now with Zion, which is a weird situation. And, he's been banged up a lot, but it's like he's got his own people. And then the Pelicans have their people. It's like that can't be good. That can't be good for building a team if you're not like aligned in the same building.
Yeah, it's definitely not a vote of confidence for the current, the current staff, right? It's like, especially if you Zion, right? You like, like you better if you go out if you seek an outside counsel, you better come back tip top.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't come back.
Pelicans Twitter is like calling for them to just let them play out there, and I'm like, what is going on in New Orleans? It looks
there's nothing worse than that whole situation. All right, so let's take your assumption at face value. You think Wiggins is going to come off the bench at least beginning part of the series? They're going to work him back. Who are the Warriors starting against the Sacramento Kings? Because here's my thought. Let me play this one out for you. I think their best lineup against a team like the Kings is the lineup they have not played all year because they can never get everyone healthy at the same time. Steph, Clay, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond. Like the small ball lineup they've wanted to use with the 2 hyper athletic wings. And, it's not the death lineup of the past, but it's like the closest thing they got to it. But if they can't start Wiggins, they can't use that one against Sacramento Kings.
They're not going to that unless they're down in the series, and they go with GP2.
No, I think the opposite. I think they want to put my theory is they want to put Kuminga around the older players to make his job easier,
Starting him in a playoff series would be.
But yeah, if we already know Curry, he's gonna be worried about rebounding and defense.
Okay.
So like Loon, there's no way you put Loon. I think it's Dante, because if it's not Dante, you got Steph or Clay starting off with De'Aaron Fox, and I'm not sure you necessarily want that. It's a good thing to shift to. But if you're starting with Dante, then you're bringing in GP2, then you got the ability to bring in Wiggins. I think Dante starts for that. Plus, Dante might be a little extra motivated. You know what I'm saying? Like the Kings.
He didn't love his Sacramento experience.
Yeah, I mean, that he thought that was going to be his home, and then they dumped him. So I feel like they start with Dante, but I think Looney starts. Kings don't have the bigs you kind of worry about. I don't think they'll play Alex Len a lot. If they do,
barbecue chicken.
I just don't see Mike Brown.
No,
doing
they
that.
go with the Sabonis and Wings lineup.
Yeah,
they kind of play like the Warriors,
which is not a good thing for them.
Yeah, I think I think Steve Kerr will start worried about rebounding and Sabonis being a problem inside. I wonder. I don't know if he wants to start off right away with Draymond on Sabonis. You better off Looney. You got Sabonis. Draymond, you playing a bit of a, because who Draymond want to guard on that starting lineup.
Oh my God, the guy that he said was scared of LeBron, and people thought he was talking about Steph.
Who you want to get. So I feel like you put Draymond on. Let him be a roamer. Put him on Harrison Barnes. Let him help. So I'm going.
Can't really roam if he's on Harrison Barnes though. I mean, he's gonna roam no matter what. They actually used him. I was watching. They used him on De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, they did use him on Fox. Yeah,
to let him, check the ball, and then he's the only guy in that lineup who can't shoot, so he can kind of cheat off him, and you gotta trust he can recover when he needs to.
I do think we're about to find out how good De'Aaron Fox has been this season. I really get annoyed when people talk about SGA and Luka as first team All NBA.
I get annoyed when they talk about Sabonis. Do you watch Kings games? That's De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah,
man.
Sam has watched, I think, more than me. You might have watched all 82. I've watched probably 50 Kings games this season. De'Aaron Fox has taken a leap that nobody has talked about. That guy should at least be an All-NBA team, most clutch guy, obviously, in the league, whatever. But I don't think the Warriors going to stop him. I
might take him over Ja. I don't know. That might be a little.
defends, though.
In the moment, he's having a better season. Ja's had kind of, whatever he's going through. But I feel like he's good. There's no way around that.
He's legit. No, he's legit. He's a problem. It's interesting too because he's such a sneaky athlete. He's incredibly fast, and he gets. That mid range is money, man. That stop and pull up, he's got good lift on it. It feels like it's a shot. I feel like Steph could do that shot more, right?
Every week.
I'm just saying, it's right there.
You ever text Steph that he gets annoyed? You know what I mean? Because I know you're like Steph.
I'm not. I mean,
giving
I
him
might prognosticate about basketball, but I'm not giving Steph advice on basketball. I'm not that ridiculous. That dude knows more about basketball than I could ever imagine. I'll ask him, hey, why aren't you doing this? And then he'll usually have a reason.
Yeah.
I just feel like Fox. But here's the thing. I don't think you need to stop Fox. Fox don't kill you. It's the other guys. That's what kills you. It's you're trying to stop Fox, and then he's whipping it around, and
Malik Monk hits 3 threes.
Yeah. You stop those guys. That's what they can't afford to let all those other. If De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis want to do the Stockton Malone thing and rack up 70 points between them and work real hard, you just can't have Barnes and Herter. Herter doesn't miss, man. Sometimes I feel like he doesn't miss. So to me, that's the issue. But then that's also the great question mark about the Kings. Do those shots go in the playoffs? Right? That's what we need to see about the Kings because a lot of dudes get buckets on the Kings. A lot of cats get buckets. Terrence Davis comes off the bench hitting. Right? They got a lot of dudes who put up shots. Malik Monk is out there he has moments where he's all right, this is my offense right now.
Well, he'd be going for. I've seen him go for 40 this season.
No, he'll do it, and it's all right. Are you that dude to do it in the playoffs? Are you that dude? Are you ready to do it when Draymond and them are saying, "All right, we're gonna take you away"? To me, that's the series right there. If they can do it, they're gonna be pretty tough to beat. But if they can't, then the Warriors probably win in 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to when we watched the Houston Rockets. I mean, or even the Blazers with Mo Harkless, Farouq Aminu, some of those guys, PJ Tucker on Houston, where it was just like, look, man, you're 38% in the regular season, but how about when the pressure's up, right? What or is it going to be 33%, or is it Harrison Barnes? We saw him 5 for 32.
Can you do it 4 times? That's the other thing. Can you do it 4 games? You might do it 1 game. Can you do it 4 games? Can you do it on
You
the
might
road?
do a game 1 when the crowd's going crazy, but what happens game
I
5?
wonder about that. I think that if I'm Mike Brown, I'm nervous about that game.
Yeah.
Game 1.
Yeah, I mean, their crowd might intimidate them.
True.
Can you imagine getting a wide open shot in the corner and the entire Sacramento stands up like expecting you to make it? Like, yeah, you might make it, but you also might get tight. Like,
a couple ways it could go down. I mean, it could be like those
saying?
Memphis games, Warriors blown out by 30. We've seen that almost every postseason for the Warriors. They get blown out by 30. Draymond's on the sideline swinging a towel, or the Warriors go out there like they did in Memphis and win game 1, and you're like, oh, fuck. And I mean, if you're Sac, Warriors go in and win game 1, you're kind of sitting there like, damn, we're going to have to win 4 out of the next 6.
Man, you got to win game 2. That's the worst way game was. Like, right. Chasing her down 0-2. Yeah, I mean, I feel like they'll come out with their first punch and it'll be hype. And the problem with that, the reason the Warriors are so good on the road is they just take that punch, they hit a couple threes, and you look up and you're only up 4, and you just played the best basketball of your season, and these dudes are still here. And then eventually you're gonna get cold, and they're gonna work. Like, that's what we see. Like, they do this. So if they come out hot and it's not a huge lead, and it's like, all right, we're still in the game. And, Steph's probably going to be passing at first. Clay's going to be looking for a shot. It's like, all right, we're down 9. We're down 14. Let's start playing. And if you get to halftime and you took your best, you know what I'm saying? You hit all the punches. You threw all the combinations. And you only up, 4 at halftime. That's where you're in trouble, because it's like, my goodness, these dudes don't go anywhere. That's what they got to deal with, to me. If they can handle that, I really want to see if the Kings can handle this, because I think if they can, they're just a couple pieces away from being legit in the West. Like, they're going to be a problem if they can solve this. And with Mike Brown, you kind of got to give him a shot to solve it, because he's done it before.
What do you all right, let's foreshadow this. What do you want to see out of the Warriors from this series to feel confident going forward? Like, they've had a weird season. Now we can lie on that, dude. They've won enough. They don't have to prove shit to anyone. They just have to show up, right? But like,
correct.
what do you want to see this round to remind you, like, all right, they're still the same guys. It's still the Warriors Invitational, as Draymond likes to say.
I want to see him like take the other team's heart like they do, right? Like, to me, if you're looking at the Kings and you're like, it's Sabonis, not exactly a defensive stopper. We get into the rack. Like, we're gonna make this dude, like, we're gonna be a problem for him. If I see that, then it's like, okay, they're going for the heart. They're about to try to take the heart out of this team. If I see that, I don't think they have anybody to guard Steph. If they put Davion on the court for too long, that kills their offense. And Davion really can't guard Steph. Like, so if Steph is like, all right, I'm just about to destroy you dudes, like, that's where they're going for the heart. That's what the Warriors did in the playoffs that they didn't do this season. You didn't see them like really just like, all right, we're about to sun you right now. But what happens is they get a little rolling, and then they start taking crazy shots, and they just don't do that in the playoffs. If they start doing that in the playoffs, then I'm like, okay, something's different. This is off. It ain't gonna work. But I feel like now that they're in the playoffs, it's like, all right, let's start playing. Steph is like, you can't guard me, and Sabonis is not gonna be the deterrent for us. We're just not gonna get defeated by Sabonis. This is the part where it's like, I get it. I'm a big fan of the Kings. I think they're good. But these people are You think this team who went into Boston
Right.
and won is going to be worried about? Like, the Kings are going to have to beat the Warriors. You're going to have to beat them. If they win the series, it's going to be because they're better, not because the crowd was loud. Like, not, you know what I'm saying? Not because, like, you're going to have to beat them. So if they're that team, then I think that's what I want to see. I want to see if they're playing around or not, if they're trying to take the heart. And if they are, I think Zach might be in trouble.
The Draymond at the 5 lineup against Sabonis is going to be, I mean, is he just going to annihilate him? Because prime Draymond would just, I mean, it would just destroy him, right? Prime Draymond is driving by him in transition. He's locking him up on defense. He's helping. He's doing, it's bad, right? It would be bad for Sabonis. So I would be fascinated. The Steph stuff, yeah, he's going to average 30+ points a game.
Yes.
I'm not even, nobody's worried about that. But is Draymond at the 5? And to Sam's point, is Steve Kerr gonna, maybe it's a 1-1 series and Steve says, all right, like we're gonna go small because we're just gonna go win these 2 at home and just finish this. We're not gonna wait to go down 2-1. We're not gonna wait to go down 3-2. We're just gonna go with Draymond at the 5 and just cancel out the Sabonis stuff. So I'd be interested to see. Maybe they don't have to get there, but
that's, to me, that's the series, is Draymond, right? Like, if Draymond does what he does against Sabonis, like, I mean, that's essentially the head of the snake, right? Like, that it's like taking out the head of the snake. I don't know if it'll be that easy. I think Sabonis is just a little bit trickier than most players, and he does a lot of passing, a lot of DHOs. So he's like really good. Like, if he's not scoring, he still is effective because he's playing the traffic cop, like as Steve Kerr said, the bogut, right? I'm just going to, do the DHOs. I'm gonna move the ball so he can still be effective. I just think they save it for the fourth quarter, and it's like, all right, now we're going. But the problem is Looney. Can you really take Looney out? Like, one thing that we've learned is Looney is getting all them offensive rebounds, right? Like, he's
one of their 5. He's one of their 5 best players. One of our
no question.
One of our listeners basically said he's the new Andre Iguodala. Like, you might want a flashier player, but like, he's the 5th best player who makes everyone else better on the floor. Yeah, you want another shooter. Yeah, you'd like another wing or something like that. But like, end of the day, he's better than what you got. So,
it's not like they haven't tried to take his spot.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. They're gonna go to Kuminga a bunch, and he may end up having his playoff moments, but like, you and I both know it's gonna be Looney when it's elimination time. You know when it's like, what, chips are down, Steve's gonna be like, Looney, get in there.
It's not unless all of a sudden, DiVincenzo becomes an even more elite defender, or GP2 makes a bunch of threes, or Jordan Poole plays defense. Like, KD ain't walking through that door. Looney is the best out of those options in a 5-minute crunch time game. He's going to get a lot of offensive rebounds against this team, though. You can already kind of see it against this Kings team, especially if he's on the floor with Draymond or even by himself. Now he's doing this punch the ball against the backboard thing back to himself to get an offensive rebound. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. With just getting 2 inches off the ground and just batting that thing twice against it and then throwing it back out to Clay. It's unbelievable the way that he does it.
You could tell he's like, yeah, this is my thing. This is what I do.
It's unbelievable. Crazy.
It's like his version of a cross step back, right? It's like, I'm gonna tap it from one hand to the next and then kick it out to Clay. Like, I'm showing off on offensive boards.
Pay too little.
Crazy.
Man. Pay too little.
Man, it's perennially.
It's unfortunate.
All right, let's
my loan piece is coming.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
that's what we need. He's is he the most? Someone asked me this question. Is he the most popular role player during this entire run? Not counting the core guys.
I don't think so, but I think he should be. But I don't think he's there yet. I think he's getting there.
Who is the most popular?
It was.
I don't think he's got most space love yet.
Oh, come on! No, it's between him.
Space, come on, man.
Yeah, but he doesn't have. He doesn't have.
It's not about who's better. It's about who's more popular.
No.
Right?
Like,
I was saying, okay, so hear me out on this one. I feel okay. Mo Spates is top 5. Barbosa's top 5, even though he was short-lived too. But I think it comes down to Livingston and Looney. as the most beloved. Like, people love Sean Livingston. No one thinks about his role. It's just like, oh, Sean, just the key contributor to all the time. And to be fair, he was a key contributor, but like, you know what I'm saying?
I do feel like Loon, like Game 6 of Memphis,
20 plus.
Chase,
Yeah.
I think that put him to a new echelon. I think that put him up there to a new echelon. It's like, oh man, like, hey, offensive rebounds kind of matter. I think the guys who make shots tend to get more popularity, but Loon is getting there, right? I just feel like
a big part of
this, you got so many of these kids, but how long before Kuminga take it? He's dunking over people.
But
we hope he's not a role player.
Kuminga's a star. Like,
he ain't gonna be a star on this team, not as long as Steph plays.
Per MT sources, he gone.
I mean, now.
I'm just saying, like, while they're on the team, he's a role player.
Per the CBA.
Is Jordan Poole a role player?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, that's like luxury item role player, though.
Yeah, sure. But I'm saying
like the Balenciaga role player.
The role. I mean, and I think Kuminga's probably trending that way, at least until they get old, right? But I feel like the role player love has to come with like doing some sort of like, I don't want to say dirty work job, but like you're not the they don't give you the ball and let you cook, you know?
Oh, I got a more popular role player right now than Kevon Looney.
Oh, let's hear it.
And Sean Livingston.
You go GP2.
GP2. Yeah. People love GP2.
They weren't as mad when he left, though. I feel like there would be protests if Looney left town.
It's because he got paid.
They weren't mad because he got paid.
They got mad once they watched this team defend without him. But
yeah, that's facts. That's facts. Like, I had no idea it was going to be that bad without GP2.
Yeah, it was a little extreme.
Like a reality. Have you seen the numbers since GP2 has been on the court?
It's unbelievable
for this Warriors team. Their net rating is second in the league defense. Like, it's ridiculous how good they are with him. And it's not like he's playing 30 minutes a game, dude. He's playing 20 minutes, and maybe he's not even fully healthy. Sam and I sit here and we argue about, is he 100%? Is he 90%? It doesn't matter. It doesn't freaking matter. That's how good he is. Him and DiVincenzo together, I don't know, man. It makes me so happy. Those two guys on the court at the same time.
I feel like Loon ceiling on Loon's popularity is an indictment on the modern Warriors fan. Looney 20 years ago would have been everybody's favorite Warrior. Back when you had to find that one dude because you wasn't going to win. You just like the Larry Smiths.
Yeah,
you like the Earl Boykins. Yeah, you like the Keith Mr. Jennings, right? Loon would have fit. He'd have been great. The Brian Cardinals. Like, Loon is cut from that cloth. But, Steph ruined everything. He made it all flashy and championships and rings and all that stuff.
Does Andre count as a role player?
Yeah, I think so. He might be the greatest role player.
I feel like if you've made over if you're in the 9-figure club, I can't call you a role player.
Yeah,
that's my rule. Looney's not there yet. Sean Livingston never got there. GP2 not there. So, not to count other people's money, but
well, I'll count it. Mine too quick to count. So
I mean, underrated part. It's not like Draymond and Clay or Anthony Davis style superstars either. Like, it's not like they're role players, but they're not. You know what I mean? Like, when you look at the rankings of the Warriors of last season, Wiggins, Clay, and Draymond are all in the 40s and 30s, right? There's just one guy in the top 5.
They're only highly ranked when it's time to diss Steph. Then they're carrying them. Then they're like, oh, but he's got these all of. It's amazing watching this jostle back and forth. It's like,
we're ending.
What are they?
We're ending on.
Or are they not? Like, which one?
We're ending on that one. Klay Thompson, second best player in the NBA when it matters in debate purposes. Correct.
Clay, by the way, that's a guy that looks like he is ready to. He led the league in threes. He got the game ball. Didn't crack a smile. That guy looks like he is about.
I was like, the job's not done. He's channeling Kobe. No, his he was hitting threes on cue in a way. It wasn't always like that. Remember, he would be forcing those shots, and it's like, hey, you don't have it. Now he's like, yo, I'm about to hit 5 threes, and it took him 8 shots to do it.
I was texting Andy during the playoffs, like they need to bench him. It's bad. Where he's just hunting shots. I was wavering faith in the moments, and
Memphis and Boston, he struggled. Dallas even.
6 months later, I'm like, delete those.
Well, remember he was bad to start the season too, so he came in fat, out of shape,
but that Portland game was like, yo, he just like, I'm if you give me space, I'm hitting this. Like that felt like Clay, and it was against Shadon Sharp. I'm not like saying it was the world beating defense, but we've seen him do that and not make the shots. So that was that probably was a troubling sight for Mike Brown. Yeah. Can you imagine, by the way, the Kings, the media and everybody's all hyped, talking crazy, and Mike Brown is like, would y'all chill? Like, I know these guys. Relax. I know these guys. We don't need to temper them up.
Well, that was the one I felt bad about, where it was just like Mike Brown, coach of the year. I mean, the Warriors miss him. And then his first series is against the team that he knows inside and out. And you think he knows what's going to happen Saturday night? You think his team goes up by 18, in the end of the first quarter, team celebrating, crowd celebrating. Mike Brown's like, just wait. This is going to be a single-digit game with about 4 minutes left in the second. Trust me, right? Like
I think if anybody knows to warn them, it's Mike Brown. But I also think he knows the weak points to pick on. Like he knows it might be a long series for Jordan Poole if Mike Brown is like,
well, JP's been cooking.
Go with this dude.
JP's been
let's
cooking.
Go with this dude. I got a few more topics I want to talk about since Sam want to go to sleep. Can we get like 4 more topics? No.
Let's go, bro. What you got?
I got nothing.
Well, let's go predictions. What do you think? Not what you want. What do you think is gonna happen before we get out of here?
I have no idea. Why do we do predictions for what?
I love.
If we start keeping score predictions, then I'll do predictions.
We do predictions so people can troll you about them later.
No, when I'm right, people know. When I'm wrong, I won't say anything.
But what happens when you're wrong? What happens?
No, nobody knows. Exactly. I don't say anything. It don't matter. But when I'm right,
I don't play games where we don't keep score.
Oh man, you just.
I do think the Warriors are gonna win, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Kings are the truth. But I do think the Warriors are gonna win the series.
Yeah.
I have a hard time seeing a first-time playoff team take it out Steph Curry.
Let's get the prediction we really want. Grizzlies Lakers. Who are the Warriors playing in round 2?
I'm gonna go with the Lakers on this.
Oh, after what you just watched tonight, picking the Lakers.
The problem is the
we see how
size. Like I want to see how the Grizzlies size. I mean, no Brandon Clark, no Steven Adams. It's like Wayne Tillman.
Jaren Jackson, if he fouls out,
he plays 28 minutes.
Yeah.
Is that not his real name? No, what's his name? Spencer Tillman? No,
Xavier Tillman.
Xavier Tillman, yeah.
You thinking
and Santi Aldama, my guy.
Santi Aldama, dude, come on. Spencer Tillman.
He's about to play 20 minutes a game in the playoffs.
I wonder about that. I feel like Dylan Brooks is going to make LeBron play all world, right?
Yeah.
Memphis is going to win, right? They're a better team. They'll win. Memphis.
I think Memphis has to win. Just from you've won 50+ games almost 2 years in a row now. You tried to get over the hump last year against the Warriors. You beat them the year before in the play-in, then lost to who did they lose to? I think Denver or Clippers. Utah. They got to get over the hump at some point. The amount of shit that you talk, but do they? I love me some Jaren and Bane, and before the little waving gun stuff, I did love John Morant too. But I mean, that's a team that they're so young. They do need to win some playoff series. They really do. I don't know.
Would you be surprised though if they lost?
No.
I think they'll win. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost.
Yeah, no. Steph and LeBron. Adam Silver.
I got Lakers winning that one. I think we're about to get the series the league wants. Yeah. Well, Warriors Lakers round 2.
Draymond's gonna pick the Lakers. I think he's gonna go on his podcast and go.
What if Steph shooting Crypto.com arena during the series?
All right, we'll talk to you.
We'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
MT, appreciate you.
He's got some demons to conquer. Appreciate you, MT. Thank you, sir.
Jesus.